Formula One is a battle between 10 of the most competitive motorsport teams on the planet. But at the end of the day, the people who actually deliver the results are the drivers. So it's no surprise that there is plenty of tension and conflict between everyone on the grid. Which driver threatened to blackmail their own team? And which driver replaced another before stealing his girlfriend? Stay tuned to find out as we dive into some of F1 drivers' biggest dramas. Sebastian Vettel in 2010. These days, Vettel is an elder in Formula One. He often speaks out about social justice, climate change, and which direction the sport should be heading in. But back when he was a young Red Bull driver, he was more ruthless. No one was safe from his determination to win every race, not even his teammates. And during his time at Red Bull, his rivalry with his teammate Mark Webber had some very dramatic moments. It all started before they were even teammates. Vettel crashed into the back of Webber when he was still at Toro Rosso. 3 years later, after Vettel was promoted to Red Bull, they collided while fighting each other at the Turkish Grand Prix. Commentator Martin Brundle put the blame 100% on Sebastian Vettel, who swerved into the side of Webber's car. But Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko defended Vettel after the crash. He said Vettel was already ahead, he had to go for the line. And if Webber felt that the team were covering his teammate then, by the time the British Grand Prix came along, it was clear where he stood in the team. Red Bull replaced Vettel's front wing with an updated model, leaving Webber with the older one. In a chaotic first lap, Vettel suffered a puncture which allowed Webber to hold on to win the race. His comments after the race were particularly revealing. He said, "Not bad for a number 2 driver." It was Vettel who won his first world championship that year, but he had to climb over his teammate Webber to do it. Lewis Hamilton's lies. At the beginning of the 2009 season, it was Lewis Hamilton who had everything to lose. He was defending his first world championship and knew that he would be under pressure from all directions. That's what makes what he did at the season opener in Australia so puzzling. During a safety car period late in the race, Toyota driver Jarno Trulli went wide off the track at the penultimate corner and Hamilton overtook him. Normally, overtaking is not allowed during safety car periods unless told to do so. Hamilton was then instructed by his team to let Trulli's car past him to retake the position. He did as he was told, but then Hamilton's engineers were less sure of the decision and were talking to race director Charlie Whiting. The race ended up finishing behind the safety car, and that meant that Trulli finished in P3 with Hamilton in P4. The stewards did an investigation after the race to determine what exactly happened. They asked Lewis Hamilton and the McLaren team members whether Hamilton was told to give the place back, and they all said no. Trulli was given a 25-second time penalty and demoted to 12th place. But by the next race in Malaysia, Hamilton had been disqualified from the Australian Grand Prix, and Trulli kept his P3. It just showed that Hamilton was willing to do whatever it takes to win, sometimes even lying to the officials. Max Verstappen and Daniil Kvyat. In Formula One, drivers are lucky to get a seat. Even in the Red Bull stable, where there are positions available at the junior and senior teams, it's hard to break through. That's what made it even more impressive when he made his debut with Red Bull in 2016 and became the youngest race winner in the sport's history. But whose place did he take? That was Russian driver Daniil Kvyat, who had struggled to perform in the team. And after he ended the race of ex-Red Bull champion Sebastian Vettel at the Russian Grand Prix, he was demoted back to Toro Rosso. Kvyat didn't think this was fair and said, "Sometimes hard work and what you do on the track is not enough." And the driver switching wasn't the only part of the drama though. Kvyat had been dating Kelly Piquet, who is the daughter of 3-time world champion Nelson Piquet. They had a daughter together in 2019, but in the same year called it quits. And soon after that, some public flirting between Piquet and Max Verstappen caught the attention of some fans. Now they are officially together and have been for the past 2 years. So Max took Kvyat's place at Red Bull and his girlfriend. Ouch. Coming up, which driver had his career sabotaged by his own team, and who had the audacity to try and blackmail their own boss? So don't go anywhere. Nelson Piquet Jr. If you've ever been a junior in a new workplace, then you'll understand how much pressure there is to perform. Now times that by 100 in the world of Formula One, and you might be able to empathize with Nelson Piquet Jr. He's the son of the Brazilian F1 champion of the same name, but his career didn't go quite as smoothly. After coming in second place in the GP2 feeder series, Piquet Jr. was given a spot at Renault in 2008 to prove his worth. He was partnered with 2-time world champion Fernando Alonso, who Renault had just lured away from McLaren. Piquet was clearly the number 2 driver, but he was still expected to perform. Unfortunately, in the first 14 races of the season, he had only managed to score 13 points compared to Alonso's 28. That's why he agreed to a secret plan at the Singapore Grand Prix to boost his teammates' chances in the championship. Piquet deliberately crashed his car on lap 14, which brought out a safety car and gave Alonso an advantage because he had pitted early. Alonso won the race, but allegations started immediately after the race. An investigation by the FIA only finished the following year, with 2 top Renault executives leaving the team and Piquet Jr. never returning to Formula One. Piquet and his family defended him and said that he only agreed because of the huge pressure put on him by the Renault team. See, even in F1, it can be hard to say no no to your boss. Jos Verstappen. Max Verstappen is the defending world champion and one of the best drivers of his generation, but he is the product of some tough love from his father, who was an ex-F1 driver. Jos would alter Max's karts to test his knowledge and get angry at his son when he missed opportunities. He even abandoned Max once at a gas station after an argument, and his mother had to pick him up, and that shows that Jos had a darker side. Max's mother is Sophie Kumpen, and herself a former karting champion. In 1998, Jos was given a 5-year suspended jail sentence for breaking a man's skull. Then in 2008, he was taken to court for sending threatening messages to Sophie. And in 2012, he was arrested for the attempted murder of his ex-girlfriend before the charges were withdrawn weeks later. This history is not exactly one you would associate with a loving father, so it's not hard to see where Max gets his fiery personality from. Jos is still involved in Max's career and was his biggest supporter last year in his title battle with Lewis Hamilton. Let's just hope that Max isn't taking any relationship advice from him. Alonso's blackmail. The relationship between drivers and team management can get pretty tough. Contract negotiations, teammate management, and how a driver expects to be treated can all be points of contention. But Fernando Alonso took things to a whole new level back in 2008. He had won the last 2 world championships and planned on making that year a third. But when rookie Lewis Hamilton arrived at McLaren, his plans hit a speed bump. From then on, Alonso had to look over his shoulder as his new teammate performed better than anyone expected. 2007 was also the year that McLaren had been disqualified from the Constructors' Championship for a spying scandal that also cost them a $200 million fine. But during the legal battle, Alonso apparently tried to take advantage of the situation. At the 2007 Hungarian Grand Prix, Hamilton disobeyed team instructions, and Alonso retaliated by sabotaging Hamilton's qualifying session. Then, he threatened McLaren boss Ron Dennis that he would send evidence of his involvement in the scandal to the FIA. Threatening your boss to try and gain an advantage? That's something only Fernando Alonso could do. Dennis denied the allegations and failed to get control of the teammate rivalry, and they both lost the championship that season to Kimi Räikkönen. Predictably, Alonso left the team the next season while Hamilton won his first title. It turns out that trying to blackmail your own team doesn't work out in the end. Which drama did you find most shocking, and did we miss any? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.